Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I know it feels a bit like deja vu being back in this chair, back in the OG blurry camera. But we're heading off to phase two tomorrow. Exactly less than 24 hours from now. I'll be actually at Cosford, sorry, not Horton. Getting ready to lock and load and get these 10 months out of the way. So just going to talk about a few bits. So I think the best thing to start off with is actually talking about what it's been like being back at home. And strangely enough, it's actually been a little bit of a struggle in the beginning. I've been at home for about 3 and a bit weeks, almost 4 weeks, and the first 2 weeks were actually a little bit of a struggle, struggling to find things to do. I went back to cadets to sort of keep me busy and also feel a bit of nostalgia and just sort of go back to the place where it all began for me. And they gave me the skills to go into it. A lot of people frown on cadets and scouts and things, and I get why people do it. But when I was telling my friends, oh yeah, I'm going to fly, gliders and planes, they'll be like, yeah. You can see the withdrawal in their face because they thought cadets were stupid, but they actually wanted to go and do that stuff. And it grew me as a person as well. That's what I told the cadets when I went back. Before I left, which was my last day, was yesterday. I sort of said, take every opportunity you can, go on everything. It'll grow you as a person, and that's very, very important, especially in your adult life. And it was good to go back. And once the cadets found out I was in, actually a full serving member in the RAF, they were very, 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 had a lot of questions. Let's just put it that way. One of them actually thought I retired, so I looked that old apparently. He was like, "Oh, so how long was you serving in the RAF for? Like, what's it like being retired?" Flipping hell, I must look very old. So yeah, it was a good laugh, and there's a lot of kids that have got quite a lot of aspiration, which is great to see. Because you always hear this stigma in this modern day and age that all these new generations, every generation that comes on, are sort of, since the millennials are all useless and and moody and crybabies. Well, maybe they're the millennials, and maybe my generation as well. 95 to 2005 or whatever that sort of bracket is. There are quite a few moaners. I have to attest to that being being in that generation. No offense to anyone that's in it, but you probably know what I'm talking about if you are. But yeah, a lot of these young kids were very, very excited, very, got a lot of sort of drive about them, and they had a lot of questions, which is great to hear. So yeah, Cosford. First thing I'm actually looking forward to is hopefully, well, the one thing I'm hoping for is for the staff to maybe be a bit more relaxed on the sort of basic side. I think they will, because obviously we've gone through basic training, we grizzed it out, we soldiered it all the way to the end. For even though some people, whether the RF is basic training is a struggle compared to others, is completely irrelevant. We've went through it, we did it, we got to graduation, we passed everything that they set in front of us, so we've somewhat earned the stripes, so to speak, the TRF patch on our right arm. So I'm hoping that right from the get go they're a bit more relaxed in that regard, and then unless we give them a reason like our kit is not up, our uniform is not up to standard, our inspections go bad, so on and so forth. Then they might need to start sort of cranking up the discipline in that regard. But I'm hopefully, they more focus on the information and the training of our trade, more focusing on that than anything else. Just so we're learning it, left to right, A to Z, everything we can, make sure we learn it and understand it fully. So that's the sort of first bits, and then my sort of next bit is obviously what I'm going to do about my newborn. Now, obviously, this is a bit more of a more difficult area of conversation because obviously I'm still in training. Firstly, my idealistic way of doing it is them moving up with me. 9 months is a long time to be away from them, majority of the time. Obviously, on Friday evenings, we can go back home, which I will do, obviously, at some point. But, 3.5 hour, 4 hours, sometimes 5 hour journey is a big, big period of time. And it's going to cost a lot as well, which I probably don't have that financial resource. So we're going to have to figure something out. But, I am a bit more optimistic because how the staff acted at Horton were really, really good. Always asking, always saying like I'd actually gone in labour, which obviously I would have told him if it did, but the fact that they were constantly asking, keeping on top of it, and then when she started getting into labour more close to the time when her due date she was over her due date, then they were constantly asking every day, how's it going, is everything all right? And then as soon as I told them she's gone into labour, they basically got me straight home straight away and they let me go, and I was able to be there for the birth of my child, which is I sort of eternally appreciate that. Even though they're just doing their job, I can always be appreciative of things, and I really do appreciate that a lot. My sort of plan is to try and get the best I can. I doubt that I can get my own sort of place because apparently they don't have a lot of family housing. I don't think they actually have any at Cosford. but apparently they have like these flats or something that you can sort of like rent out for like a week or two that your family can come stay with you. I don't know how they work, so I need to speak to them obviously a bit more about that. But idealistically, if obviously might as well sort of aim for the stars, so to speak. If I could rent out somewhere, if they don't have any housing, privately rent somewhere close by that I can still travel to and from work, if you will, in training, that they would let me do that, so I can still have obviously my family time and be with my newborn, because obviously those sort of first years are a big part of their development, their psychological development. So I don't want them to see me as like a stranger. I understand that obviously on the same foot, I did apply for the Air Force. I have joined it knowing what I was getting myself into, so I'm not going to expect anything crazy. That would just be like the absolute best case scenario. So but obviously I need to ask them about what I can do, because I can't not see them at all. So I'm sure they're going to be fine with it, and I'm not fine with moving out, but they're going to be fine with my sort of situation, and they're going to try and help as much as they can. So anything I can get, I'll be very, very appreciative. And obviously I'll work as hard as I can to sort of earn that as well, because I understand obviously there's probably other people that would like to go home and maybe they can't financially, and I know I might get that luxury of doing so, and I don't want to obviously sort of I don't want to take advantage of that. I want to make sure I appreciate it, do the best I can. So yeah, other than that though, that's basically it. So just sort of before we end this video, I just want to sort of just run through each stage of the application, training, things like that. If you guys are maybe you've somehow stumbled on my video, this video, and you're looking at applying for the Air Force, go for it. There are a few people in this modern day, as I've been told, outside, in work and family and stuff, that maybe the Air Force is not the greatest career anymore. Maybe, I don't know why, maybe it's just there's not a lot of travel opportunity, maybe there's not a lot of this, that and the other. I sort of go through life not expecting a lot. I just sort of look at, I don't want to regret things when I'm older, so as long as I have my child and she's happy, or healthy at least, and fulfilled as best as I can, and my partner's happy, and I enjoy little things. I don't really expect a lot. In terms of money and stuff, money comes and goes. It's always been a dream of mine, and I know that if I wasn't to do it, I would be regretting it in the future. So I don't really listen to the naysayers. Okay, if you're genuinely interested in it, go for it. If it's not for you, you'll find out, and you can leave whenever the time bracket is, depending on what role and what rank you go into. But do it. Okay, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an impossible thing to do either, but it's a respectable thing to do, and just go for it. If you are in the application process, you found the drive, you went and put your application in. Obviously, there are going to be some of you, maybe not everyone that watches this, but that will get to Horton and you will leave. Okay, but again, if you're not like really into it, you're sort of like, well, I don't know, then maybe it's not really the career for you, because obviously you need to have a lot of like I said, there's going to be a lot of times where it's going to be difficult. In my previous videos I said this, and you need to have that sort of, like for me it was my child, it's about my dream, it's about having our own place, things like this, that really pushed me through. And also the YouTube channel as well, that was probably one of the biggest ones. Just find your sort of like soul meaning. And that's the thing, this is something that I feel like I'm going to wake up in the morning and actually want to go to work. This is something I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. Maybe it's nothing what I expect it to be. Maybe at some point, the way the RAF goes, maybe in 5 years, 10 years, maybe a year's time, I don't know. Maybe, obviously, the RAF is political, even though it's part of, it's part of the king. Obviously, that's all politics and stuff like that. It might go maybe extremely woke. I don't agree with woke stuff. Obviously, there are some level of woke stuff in it now, but the people, the personnel are far from woke. I promise you. Not the opposite end, but they're not woke. There are a few, there are a few there, but for me personally, that's not. Until that point, if it goes in that direction, then I'll leave, because that's not what I personally believe in. I stand up for my personal values. I'm not going to be afraid. Okay, I know people say, oh, you should be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. I don't really care. At the end of the day, I believe that if I feel like something's right, I'm not going to cower away from evil, or the things that are wrong. So, I know we're going a bit off script here. I will bring it back on. So, if you are applying and, this is something you want to do and you feel like it's the right thing to do, do it. Okay, go for it. What have you got to lose? You don't want to look back in those years' time and sort of like regret it. You know what I mean? That's the biggest one I don't want to do. So yeah, and then if you're heading off, you've done your application, heading off to phase 1, definitely grizz it out. Do not quit. Okay, that's a big one. It will end. The 10 weeks will end. I get a lot of questions when I was in there that I didn't actually cover in the other video. Like, when does it get easy? Okay, like if you're new and you still got your piss discs in, which is like your yellow ones, you know, for 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 me, there wasn't actually an easier time. I just got used to it, if that makes sense. So you know, you're gonna go through that. It's a definitely a personal development thing that you could definitely take advantage of. Take advantage of it. It's not a negative thing. And just grizz it out. See it all the way to the end, and you won't regret it. I promise you. And if you guys are going off to phase 2, good luck. If you're not Cosford or heading off to Cosford, I might see you around. Definitely don't be afraid to say hi. Or no, it might be a bit weird. So, you know, if you're just waving at me and I'm just like, I don't know who this person is. I'm only joking. But yeah, don't be afraid to come and say hi. I'd be more than happy to talk to people. You know, just sort of have a chat and see how people are doing. Obviously, I know people who are on sort of course have watched my channel before. A few of them have. So I'll see you guys there. I'll see you tomorrow actually. And yeah, other than that, guys, that's gonna be the end of the video. What's gonna happen next in terms of the YouTube, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'll try and continue it on. But you know, it's 10 months gonna be it's gonna be quite stressful and long. I might not be able to get around to doing any videos at all. Or I might stop them because obviously when I go on operations and stuff, obviously I can't talk about that. But you know, I might talk about phase 2, and as soon as I get time and an idea of a video, I will definitely make one, I promise you. Because again, I attribute me passing everything up until this point to you guys. And yeah, so thank you so much. I really appreciate you staying around. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Until that point, take care. Bye bye.